everyone, and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. We have been gardening since 2010, and I started my gardening journey with vegetable gardening and slowly moved on to flowering plants and other ornamental and indoor plants. Over these years, we have been following only organic methods of gardening, and I have tried different ways to compost our food and garden waste. I have previously shared a video on trench composting in which I bury the vegetable and fruit peels after mincing them into smaller pieces and bury them directly into the soil and let them decompose for a few weeks before I plant new saplings or plants in that soil. We have also tried bucket and tube composting, and our tube composting was not very successful because these tubes were inserted directly into the soil and it attracted a lot of rodents. After seeing a few videos on mesh composting, we decided to try this in our parents' garden where they have a bigger garden and has a lot of dried leaves, and they were also looking for an option to compost their kitchen waste. The mesh composter in my parents' garden was made by a local fabricator, and after seeing it work really well for them, I decided to get one for our garden but of a smaller size. They have a mesh composter that's about 6 feet tall and 3 to 4 feet wide, and we have one made for us in half the size. And today we are going to assemble this composter that we have brought in parts from our hometown. Until now, we have been collecting the dried leaves from our garden and using it as mulch around most of our plants. And we also bury the kitchen scraps like fruit and vegetable peels directly into the soil so that they can add nutrients to the soil. But now I'm really excited to have this new mesh composter so that we can compost all our garden and kitchen waste and make organic homemade compost that we can use for all the plants in our garden. This method of composting is really easy, and I have seen my parents compost their kitchen and garden waste, and they also got compost a couple of times that they have used in the garden. So please do watch this video till the end. We are assembling this compost bin ourselves this weekend. Once this compost bin is assembled, I'll share how to layer your compost bin so that you can start the composting activity. One very essential ingredient from our kitchen that will kickstart the composting process since it has a lot of microbes in it, and also how to use the liquid fertilizer that we receive as a part of the composting process known as leachate. So do stay tuned till the end of the video, and I'm pretty excited to share this process of composting with you, and I have been really looking forward to it for a very long time. So now we have finally assembled our compost bin and we are placing it outside our kitchen so that we can easily add our food waste and garden waste every day. And there is a flap in the front at the bottom where we can harvest the compost from, and another lid on the top from where we add all the materials. We collect a lot of dried leaves from our garden, and I'm adding this as the base layer at the bottom of the composter. And we have collected them in a few bins and also bags. In order for us to get a good compost, we need to add an equal amount of browns and greens. If there are too many greens, like the food waste, then they will leach a lot of moisture. And if there are too many browns, it will be too dry and it will not get composted. So, after collecting a lot of dried leaves, weeds, and also some food waste, we are adding some cocoa peat to the bin. And also, in addition to that, we need to add microbes that will kickstart the composting process. So, for that, we can usually add cow dung slurry or dried cow dung and then add some water to make the mixture moist. Here I'm adding some buttermilk to kickstart the process in addition to the cow manure, and it needs to be mixed up so that the composting process can begin. The composting pile must be a mixture of greens, that is, food waste, fruit and vegetable peels, and also weeds from the garden or green leaves. And in addition to that, we should add the browns or the dried leaves, and with that, we need to add some microbes like buttermilk or cow manure to start the process of composting. So now at the base of our composter, I have placed two trays to collect the leachate that will come from the composting process. After a few weeks, I started to see leachate collection at the bottom trays, and this can be used as a liquid fertilizer in the garden. Many people are a little hesitant to use leachate because they feel that it doesn't have the right amount of micronutrients and can be toxic to our plants. So, if you are hesitant to use these on your edible plants, you can still use them on your flowering and ornamental plants since they contain a lot of micronutrients that can help your plant grow. A couple of important things to keep in mind when using leachate in the garden is if your leachate is slimy or gooey or yellowish in color and has a foul smell, then discard it completely and do not use it in the garden. But if the liquid is dark brown in color and does not smell bad or stink, then it can be used for the plants. But it still needs to be diluted by at least 10 times before we use it for our plants. So here I'm adding the leachate from both the trays into this bucket and I'm going to dilute it completely and use them for the ornamental and flowering plants in our garden. This is a 25-liter bucket, and just less than half the bucket is filled with leachate. So I am going to top up this bucket with water and then add it to a watering can and feed my plants with this liquid fertilizer. Now, once this is watered down, I can add this to the base of my flowering plants. It is better not to use it as a foliar spray and pour it directly at the base of your plants. It will take a few more months for my compost to be ready, and once the compost is ready, I'll definitely share the compost harvesting process that we are doing from this new composter. Since I have seen this in my parents' garden earlier, I know that it's a really easy process. And as long as we keep the mixture moist and keep mixing it regularly and adding enough of greens and browns to the mixture, very soon we will have compost that we can use for all the plants in our garden. I hope you liked today's video. Please do support and subscribe to our channel for more gardening related videos. Thanks for watching Fresh from my garden.